So me and the man, we were sitting around the big parlor room, and lo and behold, if not to what for, the man had been drinking. It's always better when the man's drinking, 'cause he's more relaxed, he's more free-falling. You don't have to worry about what's going to come out of the man's mouth next, 'cause something's coming out soon after that. The man is the king of the Countermand. Just remember, I told you so. But the man, he looks over at me. He was really shit-faced. And he says, life is really pain and your tolerance to pain. I looked at him, I said, oh my God, that's bleak. That is so bleak. And the producer came charging up. He said, listen, guys, we can't have it so bleak anymore. It's definitely been part of the demographic or the report. It's the numbers. No one wants to have it downcast. It can't be negative. You have to find the light at the end of the tunnel. Claw your way to the light, boys, because we can't have it anymore. It's got to be more uplifting. And the man was like, who the fuck is that? I don't know if the man ever realized I was doing a podcast-ish entries to the YouTube situation as a talking dog. He saw me in my cones. I don't know if it ever registered. What did he think the apparatus was that helped me operate, the whatever you call it, the information highway, the implements of technology, so to speak. My apparatus. What did he think? What did he think? I think the man might have thought that I was like using bullhorns to broadcast my language, my dog language, further and farther among the people. But then I got confused and I turned it around on myself. And instead of putting a cone over my head, I put a cone over my arms. And I walked around as if I was on stilts or I was on crutches, or those kind of cane crutches that it's like goes halfway up your wrist, and it's like a brace, and you have a handhold down there, like if you're climbing across the things with the pegboards. You can scale up and down a pegboard, or you could be holding on to that one single peg for your crutch. You could have a right-hand crutch, left-hand crutch. It's not a crutch, it's a cane. It's got a brace around your forearm, and then you hold tightly, and it's a silver thing with a nice bottom, so it catches carpet, it catches floors, it catches anything, and it's like a cane crutch thing you got going on for yourself. Did he think that's what my apparatus was? Did he think that's what my apparatus was? I mean, I didn't even understand for myself. It didn't even matter. The man, whatever. It's as if he didn't understand anything that was going on around him. And the producer, it seemed like it was worse. But he was right, from the standpoint of you got to be more uplifting. It has to be more uplifting. You have to look at the side of a mountain, a crag, and it could be barren, and it'd be like the sunlight splashed across it. It looks beautiful, and you've got one scraggly old freaking cedar and some vines, some weeds, some green weeds mostly. It's winter, so the crag, it might have something that could, pose as whatever. It won't even matter. How could you be uplifted by this? How could there be something that would be uplifting? And, the producer said, okay, you two idiots, listen to me, okay? Maybe a fucking Tweety bird comes in there, a yellow, bright fucking Tweety bird. He sits on a branch, and everybody could see how, striking he is compared to the bleak crag of the rocks behind him. You get me? Maybe the Tweety bird has a fucking worm in his mouth, okay? His beak. Out there, a red, plump, fat worm squiggling and wiggling, putting slime on his beak and making his beak seem more shiny and sheeny, more standoffish. The yellow Tweety bird with a purple worm in his beak, equally on one half, the other half of the beak sticking out side to side, wiggling and squiggling, getting some worm slime on his beak to make his beak seem even more uproarious. And this worm looks at this bird and says, listen, do not gobble me down, you asshole. Let me free. And the Tweety Bird would say, in this instance, I'm going to bite you in half. I'm going to let the half that just talked to me go down in the dirt, and you can scrawl it away. You can squiggle away. You can burrow into the dirt, okay? You could Joe Burrow into the dirt the way Joe Burrow burrowed in the dirt when he had the ball twice and he couldn't get it done in the AFC Championship games against the injured Pat Mahomes. Don't even start. The worm situation, the Tweety Bird, he would bite the bird in half in this scenario, in this take, this thing I'm proposing. The Tweety Bird would bite the worm in half. The worm with the head would fall to the side. He would burrow into the ground, and the other, he would gobble it down and eat it, and there would be red pulse and purplish reddish innards of a worm. He would gobble it down and say, hey, I got to eat. I got to survive. And the worm would be like, hey, I get to survive too. And it's like a win-win. But that's the kind of an uplifting thing the producer said to me and the dog. If I was the man, I would have said that. I'm the dog, so I would have quoted the man. I would have said, the producer said to me, the dog and the man, you two jabronis, get this fucking shit straight. It's a worm, half worm, half worm. It's a glass. Like a glass half full, half empty. You got to be half full, guys. You got to be the worm head scurried away and lived to tell about it. You have a win-win. The worm lived and the bird got nutrients, okay? It's how it has to be. And if you don't get it, sorry. Maybe we'll find a new talking dog and an imbecilic bourbon sot. Maybe. And I looked at him. I was like, you know what? I am the dog. I'm a stupid dog. But listen, me and the man, listen, a talking dog and a bourbon sot with this, a brain deprivation bourbon sot with this much to offer. What are you, stupid? You want to go toe-to-toe? That's what I said to him. You want to go toe-to-toe? It didn't matter. He didn't care. He was a bastard. He was a prick. Those producers are all fucking pricks. And that's well known. Hither and yon.